CBS 6 exclusive, a one-on-one interview with President Barack Obama.
Our Tracy Sears was the only reporter in Virginia invited to the White House today to speak with the commander-in-chief. She asked him about the government shutdown, the Affordable Care Act, and brought along some of your biggest concerns.
Tracy also talked with House Majority Leader Eric Cantor, who's been pushing for a delay in the Affordable Care Act's individual mandate. Here's Tracy's exclusive report.
In Virginia, home to more than 140,000 federal employees and even more contractors, the impact of the government shutdown is being felt far and wide.
These are the folks who...
In an exclusive interview with CBS 6, the president says each day the shutdown remains, small businesses, veterans, and children's services continue to suffer.
The ripple effects from this across the board are particularly damaging for this area and for Virginia. And that's why what I've said repeatedly is this is completely unnecessary.
The president blames congressional Republicans for holding the budget hostage, using it as leverage in budget negotiations to defund the Affordable Care Act, a tactic that the president says he won't fall for.
What we need to do right now is don't harm the American people, put folks back to work, reopen the government, make sure America's paying its bills, and we're then in a position where we can have a good negotiation.
But according to several of our CBS 6 viewers whose concerns we took to the president, the Affordable Care Act, while helping lower-income families, is hurting the middle class.
You met with Virginia workers back in 2009 when you were campaigning, and you said too many Virginia families are being crushed by health care premiums. And you also said Virginians, if they like their health care plan, they could keep that plan. But we've seen since the passage of the Affordable Care Act, premiums have increased. Employers like the University of Virginia have dropped spousal support from health care. We've seen companies like Home Depot, community colleges have taken full-time staff and made them part-time instead. Were these anticipated consequences?
You know, I have to say, though, a lot of this stuff has been happening for the last several years. That doesn't have to do with the Affordable Care Act. And what it's done is it said, you can now go and buy health care that is competitive, that gives you choices, and if you still can't afford it, then we're going to provide you a tax credit to help you buy it.
House Majority Leader Eric Cantor says Republicans simply don't agree.
I think even the administration would admit that Obamacare is not ready.
Cantor says they want to see changes to the health care law now. He says the consequences of not acting could mean $1 trillion in additional debt for the country.
Why not pass a continuing resolution for now, get the government working again, and then address that later in Congress?
The problem has been that there hasn't been any negotiations over the last couple of years. You know, we sat down 2 years ago when we had a similar situation of a debt ceiling, and since then there's been no discussion, no conversation, no talks with the president on how we can go forward together. And that's been very unfortunate.
And that was our Tracy Sears exclusive report. To see both of Tracy's interviews in their entirety, just log on to WTVR.com. Our interactive web producer, Alex Bryan, traveled to D.C. with Tracy today. You might have seen some of her tweets and posts about today's trip. She's putting together a complete article on our website, again, WTVR.com.
Police